Zambia has defaulted on its Eurobond coupon after the expiry of a 30-day grace period, the Finance Minister, Dr. Walyangandu, disclosed on Friday, setting the country on course to becoming Africa's first pandemic-era sovereign default. The nation missed a payment of a $42.5 million coupon on one of its dollar-denominated sovereign bonds last month. The government had requested that bondholders grant it a deferral of interest payments until April as it struggles with the dual burdens of fighting the pandemic and a limping economy. But the creditors rejected the request earlier on Friday. The government had requested that bondholders grant it a deferral of interest payments until April as it struggles with the dual burdens of fighting the pandemic and a limping economy. But the creditors rejected the request earlier on Friday. Dr. Walyangandu says that government will re-engage lenders of the Eurobond on how best to restructure the debt. And Dr. Ngandu further says it is in the interest of the lenders that they work together to restructure the debt. He noted that government is aware of serious concerns raised by bondholders and that it is dealing with the matter.
Insist again on our determination to enter into a good faith and constructive dialogue with our creditors to arrive at a mutually acceptable solution. Thirdly, we are committed to a fair and equitable treatment across our creditors. This is the reason why we have invited our bondholders to also participate in a debt service suspension, as we are doing with our commercial creditors. Finally, we want to emphasize the need to design together a debt solution consistent with the IMF debt sustainability framework.
Negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, were also continuing, he said, but declined to give further details. The IMF said separately through a spokeswoman that any financial support for Zambia would be contingent on the country taking steps to restore debt sustainability. A source familiar with the thinking of the Zambia External Bondholder Committee, a large group of creditors holding more than 40% across all Zambia's bonds and a blocking stake in each issue, said they had for 6 weeks sought clarity from the authorities about a credible medium-term framework for restoring fiscal sustainability. Bondholders also wanted more information on how Zambia plans to deal with other creditors, including the Chinese lenders. Meanwhile, the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, is calling on all concerned stakeholders, local, national, regional and international stakeholders, to join hands and show solidarity in advancing the noble cause to persuade Zambia's creditors to consider any form of debt relief for the Zambian people. Zambia needs some space to address its indebtedness in a manner that will not harm the dignity of the lives of all the millions of Zambians in the country. In a statement made available to CBC Business, Father Alex Muyebe, the executive director of JCTR, says his organization is asking all the citizens to take it upon themselves to demand accountability and involvement in coming up with a roadmap of how the country is going to pull itself out of this undesired and dangerous debt crisis that has a potential of being a liability to be passed on to future generations. Government must demonstrate how Zambia shall never fall in such perilous indebtedness again.
JCTR is therefore calling upon Zambian leaders to undertake an honest and hard reflection on how and why this country has found itself in a state that puts in danger the lives of its citizens. From this reflection, Zambian leadership must present to the nation and to the world a plan that will practically illustrate transformative and democratic practices to address the prevalent shortfalls in the country's loan and debt contraction processes and in the public finance management.
Jimmy Kanasha, CBC Business.